Welcome to the show today, baby. This your boy Jimbo Dean, aka Jimbo Slice, aka Jimmy Mom. Hey, call me whichever one you want, but please do not call me no goddamn New Orleans Saints fan. And boy, do I mean that. Come on now, come on with it. This Down Under Sports, and we are back. I told y'all gonna see a lot of us more and more lately. Y'all gonna see it. Me and Mike is here, and today we are going to predict the offensive all-decade team before it even come out. And then we're going to cover it when it come out to see if we match, to see if we on the same page as the Atlanta Falcons. Like I said, I'm your boy Jimbo Dean. That's my co-host, Big Mike off in Atlanta, Ground Zero. What is going on, Mike? What is happening, baby? What's up, man?
Bro, it's Friday. Like for real, bro. It's Friday. Like, every day when I wake up and I ain't got to go to work the next day, and this is not for my job. I love my job. If you hear this is not me not wanting to go to work. But them days I don't have to go to work. Those days when I can just like wake up, it's 9, 10 o'clock, man. I can relax a little bit. That's when I get excited, to be honest with you, man. Because you work hard, play hard, man. But like we said earlier, man, like I said, man, earlier this week, my message was, man, it's just another week. We trying to make it through. It's Friday. We'd have made it to the end. We're talking offense, which is a little bit more exciting to talk about than the defense that we did the other day. Because I'm going to tell you something. When we start talking about Robert Alford and why he is our all-decade selection on defense, man, let me tell you something. I have to pull it out. I keep it close. When we talk about the defense, I keep this guy right here real close to me. Anyway, yes, sir. Feeling good, though, Jimbo. Feeling good, big dog.
Feeling good. I'm glad you're feeling good. It's about to go down. Hey, welcome Down Under Nation, man. Welcome to all the new now. If you're new to the channel, Down Under, if you're new to Down Under Nation, man, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, share with your friends, your family, your dog, your drunk uncle at the cookout. Share with him. He want to see it too while he drank. He want to see you. He might like this camouflage Georgia Bulldog hat that Mike gifted me about 2 years ago. Appreciate that, big Mike. Boy, I might be looking out for me, don't he? I love my best friend too, by the way, my boy. So all decade team. Oh, and one more thing, Down Under Nation. I think me and Mike got a huge, hot off the topic. This is about to be crazy. We might have some good news for y'all coming here really, really soon. It's going to be big. I don't really want to crack it like that just yet. But some of the people out here that are watching the show, I think they know. I think they know. And I think they know we know. And I think we about to make this thing happen. And it's going to be crazy. It's going to be insane. Atlanta Falcons. Sports, Down Under Nation, get ready because something is about to happen for y'all YouTubers, and y'all is going to enjoy it. I can guarantee you that. This is a good day, man. Happy Friday, TGIF, baby. Yes, now, let's get into this all-decade team. We predicted this before they put it out because me and Mike think we got a good idea of who's going to be on there. And y'all should have a good idea, too, if you're a real Atlanta Falcon fan, if you're part of DBN. If you're part of Dirty Bird Nation, you should have a really good idea as well. So let me go ahead and start it on off, okay? And me and Mike may agree or disagree. And we might not agree on the same person. Now, on that defense the other day, we was kind of confused, a little lost. We were subjectively thinking like, okay, if this is our all-decade team, this defense team. Now, offense, like Mike said, you really can get excited about this one because this is our bread and butter. This is our meat and potatoes. This is where our all pros are at. This is where our pro bowlers are at. This is the people that we drafted and came in, made some noise. This is some of our stars that we got out of free agency. This is it, man. Now let's get into it. I'm finna start it off with one person and you go to your person and we're gonna alternate it, Big Mike. You ready for that?
Yeah, let's start. Yeah, you started with the position, and shoot, man, I go with who I got, man. So
okay,
we'll just go from there.
All right, and you got to start off with the head of the snake, the monster, the Godfather himself, the Deuce, Deuce, Matty Ice, Matt Ryan is at the top of the list for this offensive all-decade team, and if you got something to say about that, comment below. But you shouldn't have nothing to say about this at all. Matt Ryan is on the top of the list. He's first. Now, Mike, I don't know if I'm going to ask you this. This is a rhetorical question. Do you agree with Matt Ryan being first? Rhetorical question, I said.
You know what, man? To be honest with you, Matt Ryan is not only all decade team. Matt Ryan has been one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL over the last 10 year span, just outside of the Falcons. To be honest with you, because
Preach to him,
the
brother. Preach to
the,
him.
the one thing people tend to forget about in football is how important it is to have consistency at the quarterback position. Having a guy, and don't get me wrong, listen, let me tell you something. Matt Ryan has taken some shots. Listen, down yonder, down yonder nation, Falcons fans. Think about how many times a lineman has gone left, defensive lineman has gone right, and he's been in Matt Ryan's face before the count of three. And Matt Ryan get up time and time again and leads his troops. And see, the thing about it is, man, what I measure Matt Ryan about, or excuse me, what I measure Matt Ryan on, it's the intangibles, man. It's what Matt Ryan does that the camera doesn't see. It's how he spends time with his receivers. I mean, all decade team. That's why I said, man, when we talk about the offense, we really got to take a second, not only to say, oh yeah, Matt Ryan, blah 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 blah, whoever your receiver one is, that those guys, right? We really got to take a second to be like, to really like hone in on why are these guys so doggone good? Why, like, what does it look like? And it's all characteristics, man. And it starts at the top, man. He is the CEO of our offense. He's the CEO. He's the player CEO of our team. You know what I mean? And I call Julio, if this was like a corporate structure, Julio is more like the chief operating officer. You know what I mean? He makes sure all the guys below him fall in line with what old Matty Ice bring down, his leadership, his style. And again, man, like I said, man, we just got to keep giving love to the Godfather, the activist, Matt Ryan.
There you go. There you go. I love that. I love the way you described that one. Good description of old Matty Ice, the Godfather himself. All right, let's move on to running back. Julio Jones, don't worry about the Jet. We're going to get to you. God knows we're going to get to you. But let's move on to running back next. And Mike, I don't know if you're going to agree with this one, but I'm going to go ahead and throw mine out there. I got Michael the Turner Burner. All right. Michael the Turner Burner. We got him from the San Diego Chargers. And his time with the Atlanta Falcons, he just wowed me, man. A bruiser. I mean, the big old tree trunk legs, man. Touchdowns, pass block. His pass pro was on point. Hard nose runner downhill and had breakaway speed. If they don't know, so for all decade team as a position of running back, I went with Michael Turner. Who you going with, Mike?
Okay, so running back, we could have went a lot of different ways, right? Could have gone Devontae Freeman because here's the thing: Devontae Freeman at his peak was as good as any other running back in the NFL. Now, part of it is he's crazy for asking for as much money as he is right now. But part of the reason why he's asking for as much money as he got is that when he was good, he was pretty damn good, to be honest with you. But I gotta agree with you. It's all Michael the Turner Burner. Michael the Burner Turner, however you want to call him.
However you want to call him.
I mean, here's the thing I like about Michael Turner, man. Michael Turner I'd be interested to see how he would fare in this NFL, this 2020 NFL, 2019, 2018, where, a lot more spread, a lot more shotgun. Michael Turner was one of those running backs that you had to feed him. And I used to like Michael Turner. We'd have Jason Snelling sometimes finish the game. It does not get much better than Michael Turner. I think when we got him from, and to be honest with you, it reminds me, it's like, man, imagine what that Chargers backfield was with LaDainian Tomlinson and Michael Turner.
Boy.
The fact that we got Michael Turner and what he did, it didn't surprise me. I just think that he is hands down the best running back that we've had this decade. Because I don't know what Todd Gurley will do this next decade, but as far as this decade, it don't get much better than Michael Turner. I agree with you there. So we two for two.
Oh, we 2 for 2 right now. We bad 100, bad 1,000. We bad 1,000 right now. All right,
sir.
I'm gonna move on to the first receiver. The Jet Jones, Julio Jones. Hold your horses, baby. We're gonna get to you. And you ain't found them earrings in that lake yet. Don't worry about it. Just wait. You ain't found no earrings yet. We're gonna get to you. Right, I'm finna go to the man that got into the Ring of Fame. The man that had 2 careers for the Atlanta Falcons. I say 2 careers within one for the Atlanta Falcons. And that's big old Running White. Shout out to Running White making the Ring of Fame. And you probably gonna get a nod on that Hall of Fame thing too. I swear you when Vic was the quarterback and then Matt Ryan was the quarterback was almost 90 day to me. Some people thought you was gonna be a bust, and I ain't gonna lie, I kind of did too. But Matty Ice, Godfather himself, come in and change the day. For my first wide receiver on that offense all-decade team for the Atlanta Falcons, I choose Ronnie White simply because the time he was with us, he was your prototypical wide receiver, a little big side, had speed, no question about it, could catch anything. And it's a story I like to tell about Ronnie White. And Matt Ryan and him told this story before. During practice, Ronnie White, first 2 years or so with Matt Ryan, he couldn't catch a cold in Alaska sipping a milkshake in a snowstorm. But in the game, he can catch any and everything that Matt Ryan threw him. I love that story. It comes back to that quote that Allen Iverson said one time. We're talking about practice. Practice? We're talking about practice, not the game, practice. And Ronnie White showed up in the game. And no knock on Michael Vick. I'm not knocking Michael Vick for all you Michael Vick lovers out there. I'm not knocking him. But when Matt Ryan stepped into the building, Ronnie White turned into your prototypical NFL wide receiver. And he became an easy number one. And he passed the torch down to Julio Jones. And Julio Jones probably going to pass the torch down to Kevin Ridley like we said in the last show. So with the first receiver for this Atlanta Falcons all-decade offensive team, I'm going with Ronnie White. Agree or disagree, Mike? Who you got? I mean, I know we got to do more than one wide receiver, but for my first one, that's who I went with.
Man, listen, man. I'm going to tell you something. Roddy White is more of a Falcon than Julio Jones. And don't get me wrong, Julio Jones is an animal. But let's be honest, man. Let's just be real. Julio Jones really wasn't supposed to be an Atlanta Falcon, to be honest with you. Dimitrov, shout out to you. You made magic happen. You made magic happen when you got Julio Jones to be an Atlanta Falcon. We are one of the luckiest friends. Bro, we are as lucky to have Julio Jones as we are to have Calvin Ridley. Neither one of those guys was supposed to be Atlanta Falcons, right? Now, the guy that was the guy that I think worked hard to grow into the player that he is, to your point, is Roddy White, bro. Because let me tell you something. Let me tell you what I like about Roddy White. And this is personal to me because, you know, in high school, man, I played a little bit of everything. I played a little baseball, played a little soccer, I wrestled, I played football. But let me tell you something. The hardest sport that I played in high school, hands down, was not on the gridiron. It was when you wrestle. Because I'm gonna tell you something. When you wrestle, it's you and that guy. It's one-on-one. It's your technique, it's his technique. And if your technique sucks, you will end up slammed on your neck, right?
Right.
Let me tell you what I like about Roddy White. Roddy White was a two-time wrestling champion in high school. So his mentality is to be aggressive anyway. So you got a receiver that got like a wrestler's mentality. You're not going to be able to really, you're not going to be able to just scare them into, the trash talk, all of that kind of stuff. Now, at the end of the day, one thing I like about like Roddy White as a trash talker is he always backed it up because if you remember, at Roddy White's peak, when we played against the Seahawks, and he burned Richard Sherman that year. I'll never forget. I was at the playoff game when we were playing against the Seahawks. Probably Tony G was with us then, and Roddy White beat Richard Sherman, and he talked to Richard Sherman because he was only the second or third person that year to really beat Richard Sherman deep, right? So you look at a guy like Roddy White, man. The only thing I didn't like, and this is more the business side of it, I didn't like the fact that the Falcons kind of forced him into early retirement a little bit. And he never got a chance to fulfill one of his objectives, which was playing in a new stadium. But other than that, I mean, hands down, one of the best Falcons that ever suit up. And be honest with you, like I said, man, I mean, it stops and starts with Roddy White, man. I mean, he was responsible for so many highlights in this city for so long that, I mean, again, bro, we could go on. Who you got next?
Okay. And shout out to Ronnie White for being one of the forefathers for the Atlanta Falcons. I can concur with that. I can say that he's one of the forefathers. If he had a Mount Rushmore, his face would be up in that Atlanta Falcons. I'm sorry, but that's the way I'm gonna do it. That's where I'm going with it. All right. Guess what, Julio Jones? How you doing out there in California, man? You doing all right? You back in Atlanta yet? Okay, never mind. You ain't found no earrings yet? Okay, never mind. D Jet Jones is my second wide receiver. Now I wanted to put him first, but Ronnie White was here first, and then we were fortunate, like Mike said, Dimitrov has did some things to move up and get this guy. And before we did the draft back then, I was really joking around with some of my friends. I said, "Boy, it'd be real stupid if I got Julio Jones." I said, "Man," and I just kept preaching, and they thought it was a joke. And then Dimitrov made that move, and I just looked like a king around here. I was a king around here. Hey, boy, how you knew that? I said, "Boy, he just looked like an Atlanta Falcon." So with my second wide receiver on that Atlanta Falcons all decade team, this is predictions now. This ain't came out yet. This is made my prediction. I got Julio the Jet Jones, number 11. Uno. No question about it. I mean, in this decade, Julio done made 7 Pro Bowls. Listen to what I just said to y'all. In this decade, Julio Jones had made 7 Pro Bowls. This is insane now. First
Wow.
year, didn't make it. He should have made it. He was a Pro Bowl snub. I really believe that. But his second year, guess what he did? He made the Pro Bowl. He was a 2 times first team All Pro within and boy, you could go back and really argue on some of them. I think it should have been at least 4 times. But he was a 2-time first team All Pro. No question about it. The man is the pillar of the Atlanta Falcons organization. If it wasn't for the Godfather, you can almost put the Godfather, Matt Ryan himself, and Julio Jones as the face of the franchise. Can't have one without the other. So, like I said, 7 Pro Bowls within that decade, 2 times first team All Pro within that decade. Should have been 4. Don't let me get started. You're gonna get me fired up. Julio Jones, my second wide receiver, Big Mike. Now I know. Okay, I'm not even finna ask. I know you agree with me on this. It just ain't no question about it. But give me your thoughts on the Jet, man. Give me your thoughts, baby.
And listen, first of all, you ask yourself when it comes to jets, we all fly planes, right? And we all have been lucky enough, most of us, to fly on a plane. But how often have you ever flown on a jet? You know what? Down Yonder Nation, majority, I know the answer to that. Majority of y'all know the answer to that.
Yeah.
Meaning, you may never touch a jet. And here's the thing, you may never see a jet, to be honest with you. And to be honest with you, Atlanta Falcons, we got a jet. And man, I'm gonna tell you something. When your biggest receiver and your heaviest receiver is also your fastest receiver and your toughest receiver, and got the strongest mindset, and can really be a motivational speaker if you want to. To be honest with you, I'm gonna be honest with y'all Down Yonder Nation. Like, I read a lot of books. I try to stay well read. I try to stay up on stuff. But some of the best quotes I get is from Julio Jones. Like, all you got to do is just listen to him talk after a game when he went for 300 yards. He's like, all right, man, I'm not a stat guy. But I'm like, Julio, you just went for 300 yards on the team. You just embarrassed the whole secondary. Matter of fact, you got a guy cut. I think he got cut before when he caught 300 yards against the Panthers. I think one of the cornerbacks got waived before he even made it back to Charlotte, bro. And I think to have a guy like that, he is the only guy where I put it to you like this, Jim. You remember a couple years ago, Julio was waiting on his adjustment, which he rightfully deserved. Shout out to the adjustment Julio got. But he was the guy where I was like, man, he's gonna make our salary cap tough, man. It's gonna be tough. We're not gonna be able to get more veterans with Julio, not taking what we need, right? But I was just glad that it got done, and I don't care who had to get traded or released as a result of it. Because at the end of the day, we're not drafting another jet. It's not another jet coming in the draft no time soon. And to be honest with you, the only guy that I've seen that has the comparable measurables that could equally be as good, but he still got to prove it, is Ja'Marr Chase from LSU. But that's college. And it's hard to say who in college can be the next Julio Jones. But Falcons fans, we got a receiver one of receiver ones. We got the receiver that when you ask a cornerback, man, who's the toughest guy you covered? And they just be looking around like, Julio. Yeah. Like who else would you think? Like what? Have you first, like when DBs go against this guy, they act like they seen a mutant or something, like, bro. It's like they can't it's like they can't comprehend what they've just seen. You know what I mean? But that's why I think that man, I don't care how many times he scored a touchdown or he get in the end zone. That is not how he impacts the game. Again, Jimbo, I go back to the video you put in Down Yonder Nation. And those of you guys that are new to Down Yonder Nation, I challenge you to go back about 2.5, 3 months ago when he put the video, when Jimmy put the video up of Julio Jones just basically making 3 people almost bite on him, and he wasn't even getting the ball, and he was a decoy. Yeah. And a better decoy. Anyway, man, we can start preaching about Julio Jones, man. So let's keep rolling, bro, because I'm telling you, like, we're gonna go the whole show on why we great to have a Julio Jones, man. Just appreciate him while you're here, Falcons.
Yeah, no question now, because you don't know what you got until it's gone. All right.
Telling
Shout
every
out to
time he
Julio Jones. Yeah, and shout out to Julio Jones for restructuring that contract every year, almost every year after he don't got it. Now that is a pro. You better get man, y'all better leave me alone. You better
yes,
leave me
sir.
alone now.
Yes,
Hey, come
sir.
on now. Shit.
Yes, sir.
Don't
Yes,
let me
sir.
get to preaching to the choir. I appreciate you, Julio Jones. Good
Yes,
job. I
sir.
love it. Let's get to the
Yes,
third
sir.
wide receiver. And I'm finna throw a curveball.
Ooh.
Because I wanted to go third wide receiver, and this was finna get a little controversial there down on the nation. Because me and Mike probably not finna agree on this. This was finna get a little difficult here now. I'm finna throw a curveball. I want to go third wide receiver. But in my book, I'm not going wide receiver again. I wanted to. God knows I did. But I'm finna go full back for that third wide receiver. Yeah, I did it. Call the piper. Somebody called the doctor. I did it. Now, Harry Douglas, I love you. But I had to go fullback, and that's DeMarco. Instead of third wide receiver, I'm putting in a fullback for the all-decade team. Fullbacks need some love. And DeMarco was a receiver out of the backfield like no other. And I enjoyed every moment of it. Like I said, no disrespect to you, or Muhammad Sanu or Harry Douglas. No disrespect. But I'm not putting no third wide receiver on this all-decade team. Not mine. I'm going fullback, and I chose DeMarco. I gotta have it. Patrick DeMarco, fullback. He is more deserving to be on this all-decade team than the third wide receiver, Harry Douglas. Like I said, I'm not knocking those guys. DeMarco joined the team in 2013, and man, every year he was on the team, he was catching, blocking, no complaining, showed up at work with his hard hat and his lunch pail, and he did his job. And man, did he excel in Kyle Shanahan's offense. Good God Almighty, I love when I seen DeMarco on the field. So instead of me putting in a third wide receiver, Mike, I'm going fullback instead. Shout out to Harry Douglas. Shout out to Muhammad Sanu. No knock to you guys, but I think DeMarco needs some love. Joined the team in 2013. So, Harry Douglas, I'm going to holler at you. Muhammad Sanu, I'm going to holler at you. Patrick DeMarco, come on in, baby. You just made the all-decade team from the Atlanta Falcons. Holler at me. Who you got at that third wide receiver, Mike? Come on now,
Wow.
give it to me.
Hey man, first and foremost, I like for starters because I see the way you structuring your 11. I love the way you put that there, man. Because if you think about it, Devontae Freeman, Bernard Turner, none of these guys have career seasons. If you ain't got a good fullback, and I'm gonna tell you something, we have been struggling. Let me tell you something. I love that pick. I'll tell you why. Because Keith Smith, shout out to Keith Smith. I like what you're gonna be able to do for us. But let me tell you something. The standard is DeMarco. You know what I mean? Because when DeMarco was rolling, man, I'm gonna tell you something, man. It gave our offense so many different combinations, man. And to be honest with you, he was one of the few fullbacks who got paid. So I think I can't argue with the DeMarco pick because we're not as good as we are Super Bowl year. All the other years where we do good. If DeMarco is not doing what he got to do, if he's not leading the way, right? But here's the thing. I think it really for us just boils down to how we line up, and I think if we're going all decade, I'm not including the fullback just because if you give me a chance, Jimbo, to have Julio Jones, Roddy White, and my third receiver, which is I thought about going Harry Douglas because I thought Harry Douglas was a beast. I thought about going Muhammad Sanu because Muhammad Sanu is a beast. But I gotta go with Old Faithful with Mr. Reggie Wayne in training, Calvin Ridley, and a better one, Because listen to me now. Listen to me. As a rookie, 64 catches, 821 yards, 10 tubbies, 60. You know what I mean? I think he had a 27. He had his longest one was 75 yards. First of all, last year, 63 receptions, 866 yards, 7 touchdowns. And they're saying he's getting ready to take that next step. That's why everybody is saying Dark Horse MVP, third year in the league. We ain't never had nothing like that. The only person we ever had something like that was Julio Jones. And at the end of the day, who is he learning from? Julio Jones. Now, different body types, different molds. And at the end of the day, Calvin Ridley is 6'1", 190 pounds, but Calvin Ridley is a little bit on the weaker side. That's not his strong suit. And I'm gonna tell you something. With the DBs that we got in the NFC South, because we got some tough ones. You know what I mean? Buccaneers got some guys. The Panthers got some guys.
They do.
that other team with that wears black and gold, they got some guys. We'll leave them nameless. We know who they
Yeah,
are.
we
Just
know who they are. Yeah,
look down on the map. It's shaped like a boot. That
yeah,
state where it's shaped like a boot.
yeah.
Anyway, but if you're giving me our decade, I got to put Calvin Ridley there just because, you know, and honestly, he's really a guy that's scratching the surface. But when we talk about talent, when we talk about what three I got to have out there, I got to go Calvin Ridley, Ardizzi.
But I'm
You got,
asking you though, but with the time frame that Kevin Ridley being around, you still going Kevin Ridley?
I just go in impact, man.
Okay.
We haven't seen that kind of impact. We haven't seen that kind of impact. Um, I would say ever. You know what I mean? Because here's the thing: Julio impacted the game. You know what? Let me not say ever. The only other person that is given that kind of impact was Julio Jones. Because I'm gonna tell you something. You got the alpha dog number one. Remember when Roddy White, alpha dog number one. But
Mm-hmm.
Julio, man, remember when he was a receiver too?
Yeah,
Let's
yeah,
think about them.
step back.
Jimbo.
Yeah.
Think about when Julio was a receiver too. Think
I
about
know.
how comfortable we felt as Julio as a receiver too. What's funny is, and listen, now this is a test of honesty right here. His first year as a receiver one, we was like, that's Julio. You know what I mean? Like we knew Julio was great. Like we knew he was a dog. We just knew he was. But in terms of just like, oh, that's Julio by himself. Don't worry about him. We had to work into that now. You know what I mean? So
Right,
I think
right.
it's the same thing. I think it's the same thing with Calvin Ridley, just a little bit. Because listen, it's really gonna hit you when Calvin Ridley is our number one. Because he'll be a receiver one. Think about it right now. A lot of other teams in the NFL, let's say for the Bills, somebody like that, right? He would be the receiver one right now. It's just he
Oh yeah,
has to be
no question.
receiver two. We got one of the best receiver twos in the league, and it's been like that since he walked in. You know what I mean? So my only thing is, it's like Mohamed Sanu, he had to get they progressively got better. And my thing about it is our decade team for me, I think, and see, I think you asking a good question because it really goes to this. It's like, what does the all decade team mean to you? And I think that's why I'm glad we having this conversation because it lets me know it's like, well, hey, in this all decade team, what are you looking for? And for some people it's what have they done over this decade? But it's like this. The NFL is one of those fickle leagues where you could be one of the most celebrated people of all time, but only spend a year there, 2 years there. Look at Nick Foles. Nick Foles is a legend in
Yeah.
Philly. But he been to the Jaguars, he was Chicago now, he been here, he been there, but he's always known. So if you ask yourself, it's like, who's one of the greatest Eagles quarterback of this decade? You got to go. Honestly, I'm not saying he was the best, but you got to put Nick Foles in the conversation because look at what he did with what he had, what he gave to the city. Because ultimately, look, bro, I don't care if the guy plays 6 games for us. If he lead us to a Super Bowl in them 6 games, we're gonna have
Okay.
to think about putting him on this
Okay.
list. You know what
I
I'm
see.
saying?
I see. Now I see what you're coming from because some people will argue the time frame. So okay. So I mean, let's just move on with the list. Let's just move on with the list. Next, I got tight end on my list, and I think we might agree on this one too. We're gonna go with old Tony G, old Tony Gonzalez. For the little time that we had him, great pickup, Thomas Dimitroff. I don't know how you did it, man. You keep wondering, you keep wilding me now, Thomas. I need to start looking at your body of work. But I'm going Tony G, easy, clean cut, Hall of Famer, great Atlanta Falcons, another great pillar of the organization. I went Tony Gonzalez at tight end. What you got for me, Mike? And he was a Pro Bowler every year with us now, and an All First Team All Pro. Do not get it twisted. Go ahead, Mike.
I'm gonna be honest with you, man. If I was to sit here and say Austin Hooper was on our all decade team, and we don't say Tony Gonzalez is on our all decade team, then down yonder, I give y'all the ability to never listen to us again. Like right now, you can stop right now. Never listen to us again, and y'all ain't even got to hear nothing that we saying because there was not a better. Again, see, we can't put Tony G on the Mount Rushmore of anything because
No,
I
no.
think
Right,
the Kansas City Chiefs they would
right,
take issue to that, right? But
right.
in terms of his time as a Falcon, in terms of his teachability, and again, what I like about Tony G is he was that one player that made both Matt Ryan and Julio better from a knowledge standpoint. He was a player that came in. He saw Julio's talent. He saw what he had in Matt Ryan. As a matter of
Yes,
fact, shout out to Tony G's vision because he saw what he could do with a Matt Ryan. See, that's
right.
another thing. People are like, well, Matt Ryan isn't that good. You think Tony G, who at that point in his career, all he was interested in is making a Super Bowl, and he had all the quarterbacks he could pick from. He picked Matty Ice. So one,
Yeah.
that means he believed in Matty Ice, and he came here and did everything that he could. And it's almost sad to talk about Tony G because he's one of the greatest players of all time to not win the Super Bowl, hands down.
Yeah.
And we had a Hall of Fame, man. We had a Hall of Famer. It's just hard to believe, man, with this year, with this decade, that we actually had a Hall of Fame tight end come through them walls because it's just so rare, man. We are not known as a team that has, above average tight ends, And shout out to Austin Hooper getting paid, but other than that, if you look at our tight ends this year, I mean Hayden Hurst, good guys, you know what I'm saying, good functional players. That's usually what we've always had, but not a Hall of Famer like that. But yeah,
Right.
Tony G is just an animal.
I like to call him the Charles Barkley of the NFL. One of the greatest players to play the game, but never win one. He's the Charles Barkley of the NFL, ladies and gentlemen. Great comparison, and I mean, I wish Charles Barkley could have got one, though, Sir Charles, but he never did. But I always showed up and performed, though. You know what I mean? Great guys.
Like that.
Yeah. I'm gonna bunch these offensive linemen together, and I'm gonna run down and you pick out who you think we're just gonna run them down together, and it's gonna be a doozy here because I don't know if we're gonna have the same offensive line. Now I'm gonna start off at the center in the middle, and I'm gonna head it on out. I got Alex Mack at center. I got Jake Matthews at left tackle. I got Tyson because this was it started. It started to jump up now because Jake Matthews for sure. I got Tyson Colombo at right tackle. I got Andy Levitre at left guard. I got Chris Chester. That's right. What's up, Chris Chester? I got Chris Chester at right guard. Now, so that's my center. That's my left tackle, my right tackle, left guard, my right guard. Okay, yeah. So yeah, I got Alex Mack, Jake Matthews, Tyson Colombo, Andy Levitre, and Chris Chester. Now I want to just jump on one guy for a minute because he really came in and solidified this line for us that Super Bowl year, and that's Chris Chester at right guard. We are still having problems at right guard, and not really. Our guard situation. Let me take that back. Our guard situation is starting to turn around. Shout out to Lindstrom. Lindstrom, what's up, baby? And shout out to Hennessy. That's gonna help turn that thing around. But before we got Chris Chester, man, we was having some problems. And before this last year, the draft before last year and this last year draft, we were still kind of having problems at these guard positions. Chris Chester, a veteran from Kansas City Chiefs, came in and solidified us. And I'm gonna say this: when Chris Chester came in, I think in 2016 when he came in, I think that was the best offensive line as a whole that Matt Ryan had ever had in his whole career.
I agree.
And down yonder, if you down there nation, y'all disagree, let me know. But I really believe when he came in, he made that the best offensive line that Matt Ryan had ever had in his whole career, which is sad to say. That is very sad to say. And for me to say that in that one Super Bowl year, that's the best line he ever had as a group. That speak more values about Matt Ryan. And to only miss 3 games his whole career, we're having turnstiles at fucking left guard and right guard. And we had center problems too. Excuse me. We had center problems as well, snapping the ball over his head. He had to go through that for a little while. Alan Mack came in. So that 2016 offensive line was the best line he had his whole career. And for him to still put up them numbers and still compete, get us in Super Bowl, have a winning season, you just got to speak values for the Godfather himself. So, like I said, Mike, give me your offensive lineman. I went, like I said, Alan Mack at the center for sure. Jake Matthews, left tackle, for sure. In my book, those are for sure. Now, the other 3 kind of, you can toss them up and you can turn them around. I said Tyson Colombo, who made a Pro Bowl, and Levitre, and then I got Chester. I got Chris Chester. Give me your lineman,
man. So it's funny, and what's funny is I'm gonna pronounce his name right because you butchered it, but I'm glad you named it. I didn't care how you named his name. You did what we needed to do, which was identify this guy because he on my list too. But let me give you my 5, and I got a flex for you.
Okay.
Because he just needed to be mentioned. I got Jake Matthews. I'm right there with you.
Yep.
I got Alex Mack. I'm right there with
you. Yep.
I got Tyson Clabo at right tackle over Ryan Schrader because at the end of the day, Clabo for 3 years, Clabo made more. He made more Pro Bowls than Ryan Schrader. You know what I mean? So I like the fact that you went Tyson Clabo. But let me give you these other 2 guys. Now, actually, another guy you mentioned that I didn't even know if you were gonna mention is Chris Chester.
Yeah.
Now I'll be honest with you. I really, really, really wanted to put Prince Lindstrom there. And people are like, well, listen, man, he only played a couple games. Um, you know, this is all decade team. To your point, and that's why I say I hear you. Because it's almost like, well, what does all decade look like for us? As Falcons fans, right? And for me, all decade it's just impact. Because I'm gonna tell you something. If you look up now, let me ask you a question. You look over the last 10 years, what is who is other than Jake Matthews, who is a safer offensive lineman pick that we've made other than Chris Lindstrom? Just you name. I mean, because and I throw some names out there for you. Peter Hines,
Peter Collins.
Joe Holly. What's the guy name? We just drafted him. What's the guy from Oregon State? No. He was on our line last year. I can't think of his name. Down Yonder Nation, y'all help me out. I can't think of his name. But anyway, we got him from Oregon State, 4th round. He was on the team last year, last couple of years. He never really got a lot of playing time. Can't think of his name. It'll come back to me. But if you really look at it, man, my point is this. We spent a lot of capital, draft capital on offensive line. Chris Lindstrom, to me, I think will, and I'm a decade ahead. I think over the next decade, he will man this team for the next year. But I have never seen a rookie come in during OTAs and win a starting position just off knowledge, off approach, off all of that. But I didn't go with him. I went with Chris Chester. To your point, he is the safest offensive lineman that we have picked up via free agency, the draft, whatever, next to Alex Mack in the last decade. Easily.
Yeah, no question.
The year we went to the Super Bowl, Chris Chester, he never did anything to wow us. But guess what? He never did anything to hurt us either. Yeah. So at the end of the day, I'm 100% with you there. Now, left guard, you missed one. Justin Blaylock. Remember that guy?
Blaylock.
Blaylock has been there. I think Blaylock was a much better Falcon than Levitre. Levitre was a little bit hurt. And to be honest with you, Levitre was, I remember when we got him from the Titans in the season, we was struggling, and Levitre stabilized us and helped us. And I'm always good with Levitre for stabilizing and helping. But Justin Blaylock was a model of consistency every year. 16-game starter, 8-year, 9-year pro out of University of Texas. Always was one of our better offensive linemen. And I believe the year Tony G was there. He was there doing the Tony G year,
Yeah.
But my flex is a guy that if we didn't have Alex Mack, he would be the first guy that I'd probably tell you was the best Falcon of the decade to me. And here's a name for y'all. Harvey Dahl, Mud Duck. The Mud. The Mud Duck was nasty. Yeah. Let me tell you something. I love the offensive lineman like Mud Duck. Mud Duck might fight you outside a bar. Mud Duck might work construction. Mud Duck did everything. Golly, man, Mud Duck did everything that you needed as an offensive lineman. Man, you talking about tough. You talking about never complaining, gritty. Yep. If you ask Matt Ryan who one of his favorite linemen is, he will tell you Mud Duck. So I had to throw the flex in for Mud Duck. But I think ultimately, we had a few disagreements on the list, man, but nothing major, man. I think for the most part, bro, we pretty much there in terms of our decade team, man. And like I said, it was much more fun, man. You see how much more we were able to talk more because the offense, that just lets us know that the offense has led this team. Excuse me. The offense has led, pretty much this division for the last decade, if you think about it. Yeah. And that's an even better compliment to our quarterback, the Godfather. You know what I'm saying? The activist, Matt Ryan. And it just show you honestly, man, the kind of teams he's been able to put together for so long, man. And I think it speaks more to Matt Ryan than anything, man, which means we might need to start talking about Matt in that Hall of Fame conversation. But again, start the arguments, the Matty Ice ain't that. Keep them going, man. Let's get it going.
You're going to start an argument. You're going to get some smoke going on if you start saying Matt Ryan. It's two types of Falcons fans. There's Matt Ryan fans, and then the non-Matt Ryan fans.
Right.
I also got to get a little shout out to Sam Baker, man. Sam Baker, I ain't forgot about you.
Oh,
I ain't forgot about you, Sam Baker. I wanted to work with you, but I had to stick with my guns here. I went with a guy that made the Pro Bowl. But Sam Baker, I ain't forgot about you. Okay. Shout out to you, baby. Great Atlanta Falcon for you. All right, let's move on to these closing thoughts. Now, I was going to ask you who would, out of this list, that would make the Hall of Fame, but I think that's clear cut. One of them already done made it. And I think it's clear cut who out of this going to make the Hall of Fame.
Hold on, no, hold on. Wait.
No
Let's
question
go
about it.
to the closing thoughts. No, we need to touch on that because we did this on defense, and you know, you asked the question about defense, and I couldn't really see anybody. Maybe Grady, maybe, you know, I mean, you say one. To be honest with you, you know, I'll be honest with you. You might have to look at putting Alex Mack on that list as well too. And I'm not saying that Alex Mack was the most dominant NFL center of all time, but it's like,
Well,
I mean, you look at
when I said that one, that I mean, it said Tony G already in the Hall of Fame. When I said that,
uh,
not possibly
okay,
make one that's already there, but
okay,
possibly to make it. Oh man, shit, man,
okay.
good
Well,
God,
let's.
dude, yeah.
No, I say so. Okay, I mean, well, it's okay. So let's go there. Who you got for your possible? Who do you possibly like? Yeah, and I mean, hey, we
I
can.
got
The
I
spectrum
got
is
some clear
wide.
cuts. I got some clear cuts now. I mean, Matt Ryan and Julio Jones are clear cuts. Ronnie White should be a clear cut. Alan Mack, clear cut. Jake Matthews, clear cut. He's probably gonna make it. Now, you know, some of these other guys and these linemen, you're gonna have to think about a little bit. Michael Turner Burner. I really want Michael Turner to get a nod, but he's gonna be sitting on that fence for a while. And I don't really think so. So, like I said, I got my clear cuts in which down on the nation, Atlanta Falcons probably agree with. Atlanta Falcons fans probably agree with. You know, Matt Ryan, Julio Jones, your clear cuts, man. I mean, Jake Matthews, Alan Mack. That that just speak volumes, though. That's 5 out of your 11. That's clear cut to make the Hall of Fame. That is gonna be on this All Decade team. And I would not be surprised when the Atlanta Falcons do come out with it on the 20th. These 5 guys is for damn show. It's gonna be on there, and probably for damn show gonna make the Hall of Fame. These guys, Alex Mack, Julio Jones, and Matt Ryan make the All Decade team for the NFL as a whole,
Yeah.
not just the Atlanta Falcons. Now, what we talking about? I had the picture up on the last video. These guys made the All Decade team for the NFL all over. So these guys are clear cut Hall of Famers. Now, you give me some of your guys, or you think, and I know the clear cut ones, but you know who on this list of you, Mike, can make the Hall, or is going to make the Hall of Fame, or going to
Well,
get that nod?
well, I mean, so okay, so I won't even go clear cut. I'm gonna just take a leap of faith and say that if Calvin Ridley, be honest with you, man, because this is where it get a little dicey at because
Yeah,
being a Hall of Famer is so much more than your athletic ability, right? I think for Calvin Ridley, it's as much about the leader that he's willing to become as much as it is his ability, right?
right,
Because
right.
man, listen, we watch the videos like everybody else. The NFL is on notice day. Hey, listen, if shoulder pads ain't on, you probably won't touch Calvin Ridley while he's running routes.
There's no
Like
question about that.
to
Now.
be honest with you, when you look at a guy like that, again, I always tell you, he his game reminds me a lot of Reggie Wayne, just smooth. But I'm gonna tell you something, Reggie Wayne is a Hall of Famer. Reggie Wayne and Marvin Harrison, when Indianapolis was moving, them boys was making some real noise. So to your point, um, if Calvin Ridley is able to turn into a leader as a football player, and at the end of the day, his job is not to be the leader right now, but it's to be, you know, his job is to be Robin the Batman right now, right? But when
Right.
it's time for him to be Batman, and Julio Jones is going off, and Robin is putting on Batman's suit, and he going out and saving Gotham City, you know, how he saved Gotham City is going to be the determining factor of whether Hall of Fame caliber or not. But is the
Okay.
ability there? Absolutely. I would love to see Calvin Ridley put on a gold jacket because I think he's that good. I think that you can't really put a ceiling on him because he really just starting to figure the game out, to be honest. You know what I mean? Now he's well coached, but he really just starting to figure out just how good he is, how multiple he is. So I would say Calvin Ridley is a guy. The infrastructure guys, like I said, the offensive linemen, you know, they did what they were good players for us. You know, Chris Chester, will he make the Hall of Fame? No. Uh, Justin Blaylock, no. Harvey Dahl, no. You know, they're not Hall of Fame guys, but they're good football players. And
Yeah.
what that lets me know is the Falcons have had some really good football players, couple great football players. But what's crazy is, I don't know, let me say it another way. I don't think we've had enough, you know, just good football players. We had some really, really good ones, or some of them guys that's just like Robert Alford that can make the all-decade team by leading the league in tunnel. But
Yeah,
you know,
yeah. I mean, goddamn, Robert Alford. I'm not finna go there. I'm finna say something real quick. I could. I'm finna jump something. And this finna be totally random, but I just felt it was on my mind, and I just want to say it. I could give a damn about the New Orleans Saints. I can't stand y'all. Okay, now let's move on. If we done with that, that's out of my system. Got it done. I feel better. All righty. If you're a Saint fan, if you watching this, I mean that.
right,
Down
right,
your nation, comment down below and just say F the
hey,
Saints. Do
and,
it for me.
and I've been noticing because you know what, Jimmy, I think we starting to reach some other fan bases now because
Yeah,
you know, like I said, we love
I
all
seen
females.
that. I
You
seen
know,
that. Go ahead.
but let me tell you something. We got a lot of likes on our shows, and hey, shout out to y'all that like. But those dislike, I bet you they ain't Falcons fans. I bet you
Oh
that's
no,
some
no
Saints
question
fans.
about it.
They hear us through the name drops, and then they start disliking our photo. But hey, look, you can dislike it. We still gonna keep the videos coming, man.
Sure
So
will.
talk to them, Big Jimbo.
Well, all right, let's get off them that black and gold team down there that's shaped like a boot. Let's get
Yeah,
off them. Time to
haters.
get in. It's almost time to get into these closing thoughts. And like I always say, we got our opinion. Y'all. But at the end of the day, we're Falcon fans for life. Okay. And I'm gonna start off closing thoughts. All right. And I'm just gonna go into the NFL and how they trying to treat this COVID-19 and how they gonna play with this COVID-19 thing, which is a hot topic, man. Now, what came out today, they saying if you test positive, you're gonna be they could put you on the IR now, and you got to sit out for 3 weeks. This is going to be crucial. Okay, if you got a Matty Ice finna sit out for 3 weeks, who ain't missed 2 games in this whole 2 or 3 games this whole decade, his whole career, and he get the COVID-19, he got to sit out for 3 weeks. I thought the quarantine was only 14 days. That's 2 weeks in my eye. Now 3 weeks, I think we're going just a little bit too far. This is gonna cause some havoc up in this NFL this year. And you telling me if your main guy get the COVID, he ain't hurt now, but he get the COVID-19, he's just sick. He ain't showing no symptom, but he done test positive. He got to sit out for 3 fucking weeks. Whoa, that's some teams gonna be losing to some teams they don't supposed to lose to because they players just test positive for the COVID-19. Now, should we have a season? You're damn right we should have a season. But don't get too dramatic. Don't get too drastic. Don't go too far. If it's 14 days quarantine, give me 14 days. Don't give me no 3 weeks on no IR. I'm glad you approved to put him on IR. I'm glad you did that. That was a great move. But 3 fucking weeks, man, you killing me. Now, if you get it right before the bye week, okay, that's 1 week, but you're still gonna miss 2 games. 3 weeks is kind of drastic for me when the rest of the civilian world is only doing 14 days. You need to back up off that shit, them 3 weeks, and go ahead and do 14 days like everybody else is doing. Don't you give me no whole 3 weeks, or Matt Ryan got to sit down for a whole 3 weeks. Or Julio Jones gonna have to sit down for a whole 3 weeks. Or Todd Gurley a whole 3 weeks. Now, if you give me 14 days and we going into the bye week, you miss 1 game, no harm, foul, we good. We coming back in there. Now, this is towards the end of the year, and this last 3 weeks, and you fighting for a wild card and somebody tests positive. You mean tell me I'm fighting for a wild card and I can't have Matt Ryan for 3 weeks going into the end of the season? Now we might have a vaccine by then. I don't know. But this is just what I got from today. I think you need to back off for 3 weeks and put it down to 14, just like you're doing everybody else. Not no whole fucking 3 weeks, man. You killing me with that one, brother. I can disagree with those 3 weeks. Give me 14 days like protocol say. Not no damn 3 weeks up. And like I said, I can agree with you putting them on IR. I can agree with that. That was a great job. That was a smart move. But 3 fucking weeks is too much for me, man. And like I said, we go towards the end of the season, the last 3 games, and Matt Ryan or somebody go down, Hayden Hurst go down and get tested positive. You telling me he got to sit out for 3 fucking weeks when we need him? This don't sound right to me. So NFL, rethink that for me, please. Could you please rethink that for me? Good God Almighty. If I get it, I'm gonna be down 14 days and I'm back at work. Not no damn 3 weeks. That's my closing thought, baby. I almost got fired up. Go ahead, Mike. Give me your closing
And
thought, man.
I mean, before I go into my closing thoughts, I think that's a great point that you brought up. I think, like I said, it's a hell of a time to be a part of the NFL Players Association right now
Oh
because
yeah.
they should be all over that. Like Alex Matt, we talked about you earlier this show. You also have a key role on the NFL Players Association. So fight for what's right, man. I think that I'm glad you brought that up. I think that's a great point, man. I mean, this is going to be an interesting season because if somebody
It
catches
is.
at quarterback. And God, anyway,
3 weeks, 3 fucking weeks, Mike. Do you know how? Man, I come back and hunt us real good, brother. I'm telling you now.
Right.
14 days might not, but 3 weeks will.
Yeah, and I think this is a schedule where you're gonna need everybody. You're gonna need everybody for this to work. You start getting, I can't even. I don't even want to speak it on the Godfather. Let me knock on something.
Knock on something. Find something to knock on. Shit.
Yeah. I don't want to speak it on the Godfather, but that looks like it could be rough though. That could be rough. But okay. So my closing thoughts is, what, like I said, we talk everything Atlanta here, and like I said, the offense, all decade team. We talked a lot about that. I just want to talk about the other team that's playing sports right now in Atlanta. And next week it'll be the Braves. But right now, man, I got to talk about these Atlanta United, our other football team. Oh God, man. And this is my closing thoughts is for you guys. This was Frank DeBoer, or let me say it another way, Frank DeBoering, because that is what I've been watching. So Joseph Martinez get hurt earlier in the season. True enough, shout out Joseph Martinez. I wish you a speedy recovery. But we got P.T. Martinez. We are, like I put it to you like this. In soccer terms, we spin like the New York Yankees, meaning a lot of you guys may not be familiar with a P.T. Martinez and everything that he did in South America, or an Eric Remedy, or a Jake Mulroney, or a lot of these guys, because they come from clubs you've never heard of. But these guys are stars where they are. Meaning, if we pay you close to, let's say $3-4 million to score goals, and we don't score any points, we got a problem. So Atlanta United is in a state of flux right now. And now here's the thing, they won their first 2 games way back before COVID hit, and they lose 2 games. But my closing thoughts is more for these Atlanta United guys is that I'm not exactly sure what kind of team we have, and y'all clock is really ticking because you got a lot of fans' attention. And I really think that if it's not even the fact that we're losing, the way we're losing, we're going to lose a lot of fans quickly. And a lot of the momentum we had may not be restored, because you got to think about it like this. While we're talking about COVID, one of the main reasons that made Atlanta United such a dominant team is the fact that we would pack out 75,000 at the Mercedes-Benz Stadium. So now in front of nobody, we look like nobody. So Atlanta United, it's only 2 games. I would like to see more. Frank DeBoer, I will call you Frank DeBoer when you put out an entertaining team. But right now, you are Frank DeBoer. We need to see more out of you. We are looking for any kind of sports to gravitate around right now. You got a whole city that's like, all right, man, it's been months since we've seen sports. And then we watch 2 games where our MLS champion winning team doesn't score 1 goal. That's unacceptable, because we already don't have a lot of championships in the city of Atlanta. And if you are a team that has won a championship, we will have high expectations of you.
Oh, yeah, no question about it.
We expect you to meet them high expectations. If you don't meet those high expectations, we'll find something else to watch. That's my closing thoughts, man. I don't even want to talk no more about Atlanta United.
I mean, I watched a little bit of it, and it was kind of like you said. Your key word was in there was bored, dry. Didn't look like the same team. I don't know if they need to get back up to speed or what, but that championship, we were scoring goals at will. I mean, that horn was going off up in that Mercedes-Benz Stadium like no other. I think they almost broke it. We were scoring so many goals. And then you give us some games like this when you just put a goose egg on the board, and it just was dry. It just looked like they were stiff. Looked like everybody had jet lag, and it was boring. That point blank period, it was boring. Right. Anyway, go. Appreciate your closing thought, Big Mike. That was a good one. That young Atlanta United, we might have to do a show on you, fellas. We're watching you. Let me tell you something. This is Down on the Sports, man. Do not get it twisted. There's some things about to change around here. Me and Mike can feel it. And we got some big news that might be on the way. As of today, boy, I just got the email. It's going to be big time news. Down on the Sports, though, baby. And we back at you. You're going to start seeing more of us coming here soon. My boy Big Mike over there in Atlanta, Ground Zero. Appreciate it. Good show today, baby. I love it. And boy, if we predict this all-decade team, player for player, somebody out there going to owe our ass some money. And I want my money. I will find you with this hat on and get my money. But I'm your boy. I'm your boy, Jimbo D, a.k.a. Jimbo Slice, a.k.a. Jimmy Obama. But you can call me either one of them you want. But please do not call me no motherfucking New Orleans Saints fan. Can't stand it. And if you're getting tired of me saying a.k.a., you know what you could do. But it's Down on the Sports. Like, share, subscribe, We at you. We at that throat, baby. That's one good showdown, Big Mike. We will see y'all probably again this week. We might see y'all again this week. Stay ready like spaghetti.
Yeah.
We're gonna damn sure see y'all next week. But until then, stay frosty and drink them cold pops, man. Drink them cold pops. Okay, it's the weekend. TGIF. Enjoy your weekend. Have fun. Be safe. And like Mike say, wear that goddamn mask because we need some sports to come back around. Put the goddamn mask on, man.
Please.
Oh, shit. I mean to cuss at y'all like that. But if y'all on the sports, we up out of here. Until next time, we'll see y'all later, man. Adios.